everybody, welcome back. It's your boys, Polar Painting and Gaming, Kyle and Steven.
How's it going?
Yeah, feeling... So we're covering Scholae tactics today. Once again, both Steven and I have come up with separate lists that are a little bit more geared towards our own play style to an extent. One of the differences, I don't think I would actually play this list, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah, I'd have a hard time.
But
Honestly, Scholae in general right now are hard to, I don't know, build around.
yeah, it's a little awkward, but it's nice to theorize and explain how I would play this. So getting into my list, Dark Hand of Kyle, I've got a Mechanist Warlord. He has Inscription of Impact Resistance, so as a draw event, he gives his regiment Tenacious 1. I put that on because I figure he's going to be proccing a lot to be juicing up the Hoplites, the Clockwork Hoplites, for whatever reason, early, whether it be increased clash or mobility, whatever. Got a 5 block of Clockwork Hoplites. I've got an MSU of Clockwork Hoplites. I have 2 Prometheans. I've got an Eidolon with 2 sets of Inquisitors. One's an MSU, one's a 4-stack. The Eidolon has Resonance Receptors and Hephaestian alloys. Honestly, I only have Hephaestian alloys because I had extra points. Because that's extremely situational to be running into R of Death with him. If you don't remember, Hephaestian alloys decreases R of Death by 4. Maybe you use it, maybe you don't. Resonance Receptors means you can, you're always in range of those Prometheans when they spellcast. Which is pretty nice because the Inquisitors want to be a bit more mobile. They want to be cruising around the battlefield doing their own thing.
Yep.
Then I have an Aristarch because I can't play without Chariots. So just have an MSU of Selinoi, an Aristarch to cruise around with and die. And then I've got 2 Flogobollon Chariots. Because I can't play without Chariots. So, yeah, that's the list.
It's pretty interesting.
So
I just noticed you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You only have 9 activations.
unfortunately, yeah, 5 plus 3. No, wait, what? 9? One of us
You
can't
have
count
12.
Steven. I have 12.
What the heck?
Yeah, I always push for high activation. I don't know why Steven can't count.
I was forgetting to count the characters.
Ah,
Lame. I was
sense.
counting your regiments.
Makes sense.
Goodness.
All right, so let's get over to TTS now. All right, we're back in TTS. Forgot to mention during list building, part of the reason I have these Selinoi is I have a light option, so that I get that reinforcement curve. How do I phrase that better? So I smoothing out the reinforcement curve. So I have a guaranteed presence on turn 1, and I have more guaranteed presence on turn 2. Just works out better. So with this particular setup, we've gone to decline flank for this tactics video. These guys, they're going to be pushing up onto this hill, probably camping there the whole time. Turn 2, I'm going to be pushing out my clock light block. I don't care if my opponent pushes to counter them, because this is a really strong block.
Yeah.
The Mechanist is going to be, giving them Tenacious. The Aristarch, because they have a character attached, he can give them his battlefield orders, or it might be called something different. But I'm going to be handing out Untouchable to them. So they're now rerolling 6s on their defense. So pretty strong defensive block there. Let's see, we've got 2, 4, 6, 7 more mediums. So I think statistically you're getting 2 more. I would be pushing out clock lights on this side, getting up here, and then I would probably push out Promethean on this side. giving myself room to push things out. Um, this block of Inquisitors is going to be my major flex piece. So they're waiting for a target to come out that they want to hunt. Um, the the next choice that I'd push out would be the other Promethean. And then I'd start pushing Chariots after that. This Chariot, so I'm playing the name of this scenario. Because of the way this building is situated, I am going for a declined flank with this build. So I'm pushing all my weight on this side because this is where I have the majority of objectives to hold on my side of the table. This Chariot's going to be pushing towards the middle here so he can flex either direction, whether supporting my strong side, or if my opponent is faltering on this side, he can push that side as well. These Inquisitors are going to be coming up this side, supporting the Promethean. This Chariot's going to be coming up behind the Clocklights, capping the zone, allowing them to push off. Or if I have an opportunity, Chariot can go and push around behind, which I love to do with Chariots. That's why I take them all the time. Most likely, because of the density of my regiments on this side, these Inquisitors will most likely be pushing this side of the table. But it just depends. They're like I said, they're my flex piece. They will be going where they're needed.
Yep. And honestly, this regiment being like right here, perfect.
Yeah, they're just going to want to sit there. Yeah, so they would be going for an angle. They'd be going for an angle. Gives me a kill box. These guys are on a lovely hill, so they're shooting over. Promethean's probably coming up behind them until he's ready to push beyond to finalize my kill box. So either my opponent's charging him, or they're charging into this big meaty block. So something's getting a flank charge.
Oh yeah.
This Chariot's in position. If these guys get an opportunity to push off, he can come and hold that. Again, most likely these guys probably going to come up the middle, ideally flexing off this way. And look, here's another kill box, except it's Inquisitors instead of Clocklights. So
yeah, just almost scarier.
yeah,
they're both pretty scary, honestly.
Yeah, Inquisitors are generally killier. Clocklights are taking a lot to shift.
I think the big thing that the Clocklights have over the Inquisitors is the Mechanist can actually buff his regiment with +1 clash.
Yeah.
On top of the Promethean's +1 clash.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's stacking up quickly. So, yeah, very simple. We're gonna switch on over and take a look at Steven's list now. All right, Steven, we are here with your list called Chool.
Cool. For Scholae. So, I have a slightly different list.
A little bit.
I still have the block of 5 Clocklights with the Warlord Mechanist, but I am running the alloy gears with him to give myself a little bit more speed since they'd really be the only ones lacking in this list.
Yeah.
I have a Talos for another anchor point. I mean, Talos, it's good.
Yeah.
2 Eidolons, one with 2 Inquisitors and a Hephaestion, another one with 3 more Inquisitors, all MSUs. And no upgrades, because they're not very good, honestly.
Yeah.
Aside from Resonance Receptors, honestly.
Right, but you don't have Prometheans.
Still situationer. So. Yeah, exactly. I'm running kind of a fragile list in comparison, I guess. Talos is good. Nice anchor point, and then I have the Clocklights, but I don't have like Prometheans giving buffs.
Right.
Don't have the flexibility of the Chariots. Instead, I'm running all these MSUs of Inquisitors to kind of give my opponents a little bit hesitation here. The entire premise is setting up those anchors to do exactly that, anchor and everything else swing into them or swing around them. And then 2 Eidolons so I can take advantage of their little buff for Inquisitors.
Yeah.
And hopefully take care of 2 regiments at a time instead of just 1.
Yeah. Now, it is a little bit sad into Old Dominion because basically the Eidolon's abilities
A
does
little
nothing.
bit sad. It's a lot of sad.
Well, I say a little bit because Inquisitors have pretty nice stats into
They do.
Old Dominion.
They took out a TLAoK a while ago.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
Just an
Clash
MSU
2
of
with
them.
Flurry is pretty nice, and Cleave 1.
Yeah.
Old Dominion don't have a lot of hardened, and generally they
They
have a high amount of evasion, so high
yeah.
amounts of Cleave don't work great against them, whereas the low Cleave is pretty nice with the volume.
Yeah, that is one thing that this list has is a nice amount of volume.
Yep.
Is even with the Hephaestion and Talos, they both have a good amount of attacks. The only thing I'd be slacking on one side is maybe a little bit of interference, but that's never really bothered me before. I'll just take the hits on the chin for
Right.
normal.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's take it over to TTS. All right, we're in TTS. Steven, walk us through. Sadly, you have no light, so turn 1,
Yeah,
you're a sad boy.
so I have a much sadder reinforcement curve than yours. The difference being I have a little bit more speed on my side. Not by much, but a little bit.
A little bit.
Basically, turn 1, doing nothing. Turn 2, bringing these guys in automatically to kind of set up. They're going to be setting up basically same situation as his.
Then again, on average, you're
Again,
getting 2 more.
yep, getting 2 more. I'm probably going to bring in this one here to kind of help set up. I'm going to actually nestle them behind the hill. I don't want to push them too far forward and make them bigger targets than these guys. I'd rather any shooting go into them. I have a higher chance of defending. And then my second one would probably be this regiment, honestly. Just to kind of help nestle here.
Yeah, and you haven't
Some
really given
early.
away decline.
Yeah.
You're doing a decline flank at this point. If you
Yeah,
were,
this is, if anything, just an early spearhead. Not really showing off much. They already know what all I'm bringing. They just don't know exactly how I'm going to be situating it, because the Talos can also buff the Hephaestion or the Mechanist if I
yeah,
wanted to. Not always going to be the case. Sometimes it might happen, but in this situation, I'm not going to. The next round, I'm actually going to be bringing on the Talos primarily.
mm-hmm.
And then
Then you
probably
probably
getting on
2 more.
2, maybe 3 if I'm extremely lucky.
Yeah,
But if anything, it'd just be these guys right here.
yeah,
Talos is just going to push up. He has a lot of speed thanks to his Vanguard. We're actually going to be shifting him as far forward as we can, tiptoeing onto that while as staying in the obscuring as much as possible.
yeah.
Just because it's just extra defense against chip damage. Now, in this case, I would actually be putting my clock lights in strat stack because they would be getting that hardened bonus.
Right.
Actually, no, I wouldn't. I would pop Mechanist first. Be doing, which one was it? Probably the +1 Clash, just to kind of scare anybody, and then just honestly Entourage, straight up, because the Entourage should make him hardened. But he has such a weird worded.
No, if I remember right,
Supremacy trait.
his does not work for the
Yeah, his doesn't
Entourage.
work with Entourage because it has to be placed in strat stack.
Yes. Yeah, it says when placing a card in your strategic stack, rather than
Honestly,
getting the bonus on the reveal, which actually it
probably
is
just stick with
revealing as
this
well, which is kind of
anyways.
funny, but
Yeah, I don't think I'd care either way. I kind of need to get up on the points at this point.
yeah.
So yeah, I'd probably still do the same situation, push them up, get them just on the point, honestly. I don't really care if something is trying to get into my flank because I got this guy. I have line of sight going right here.
Yeah.
Oopsies. Up in here. so it's not too much of an issue. So if something does charge another flank, these Inquisitors are gonna hit them real hard. Then these guys, he is just gonna kind of nestle in here, waiting. They are gonna be kind of like this situation, if I can. And then I have these Inquisitors pushing up here. These Inquisitors are gonna sit in this, probably just one stand. So I'm not getting hurt by that broken ground as much.
Yeah.
Not too much of an issue because it's not hindering. It's just broken ground. But I'd still only rather take one wound than multiple. And then these guys probably going to still sit there just because it's kind of like a baiting trap, honestly.
Right.
And it's the same kind of setup, kill box situation. Yeah. And then going into turn 4 is when things will get real weird because it'll highly depend on what my opponents are doing.
Yeah.
First thing I'm going to do is put these guys in strat stack, give them hardened right out the gate. These guys are coming in automatically, so I don't have to worry about that. After that, it's kind of just going to be a lot of reaction towards what my opponent does. Hopefully they try and go into my Talos to try and counter the 6-stand monstrosity that's there.
Right.
If not, I'm probably pushing him up to the front part of this, just so that these guys can actually push up, and I can actually take this here, and these guys here. These guys will push up to this extent, and then I can actually see where they're needed. This Hephaestion is going here. And now, after these guys pop from strat stack, they are just going to reform, facing in this direction. And these guys will actually, at that point, hop up here.
So don't forget, if your Hephaestion is coming in this turn, he can use the reinforcement line. So he would have the movement to get onto this point.
Yeah. Again, that's situational. A lot of this list, I have to wait and see what my opponent is doing because I only have really the two guys that are actually dirty, hardy. Everything else is kind of squishy. Now the +1 defense that Inquisitors got, kind of nice, but defense 3, evasion 2, still not a lot.
Yeah.
When a lot of quantity can just burst them down.
Yeah. Yeah, and you really got to be careful about a shooting list because you don't have, while you're mobile, you don't have mobility tricks to push your range other than on the Mechanist.
I do on the Mechanist, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Still not a huge bonus because if I remember right, it's still attunement 2.
Right.
Yeah, it's still not great. Honestly, his spellcasting period is not very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the biggest trick I have with these guys is the double time, but that's really situational and only really going to come into play towards the end of the game.
It's just Iron Stride that's attunement 2. All the others are 3 and higher. So Clockwork Parade is the one that gives you effectively Juggernaut.
I mean, still a 3. That's not bad. Still having to deal with interference if it is happening.
Yeah.
So it's still not something I would rely on. I had actually debated on, instead of alloys, giving him Aristia. Still not sure I would do it.
Right.
It's as fun as this list might be. There's a lot of situationals that have to happen, or that will happen.
Right.
And that's kind of the issue with Scholae I have, honestly, in my opinion. We don't really have anything for Scholae, whereas like religious and populous states, we actually have things.
Right, which is why you saw me mixing in the Chariots.
The Selinoi and the Prometheans. At least mine have some lore in with Scholae.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this list could be fun. It would require a lot of finesse and understanding where you need to be, when you need to be. It's going to be taking a lot of learning to actually understand how this list needs to be played.
Yeah.
Because,
And
like you said, I can come in off the side here, but you're also potentially opening up your flank here to smaller regiments.
yeah.
Not always the case, definitely not. But I would much rather than push into the Clocklights so my Inquisitors can hit stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
And yeah, again, I think this list is zoom in weaker to a ranged heavy,
oh
so
yeah.
you would want to. I mean, it kind of plays well into the fact that you're delaying or deploying slowly, so you could potentially wait out the ranged
It, it
regiments, see where they're going.
it helps, but if you're facing like a Dwagum gun line like they can have now, it's I'm
Well, you
still gonna
either,
have issues, I
but
think.
yeah, you could force them to decline flank
Yeah,
or split their
I would
castle.
pretty much have to try and bait them into the decline flank facing off against the Hephaestion and the Clocklights coming this direction. In that instance, I might actually swap the Talos for the Hephaestion
Yeah,
and bring them both up this way to try and bait them coming this direction.
yeah,
Having all my Inquisitors just go
just
down
shove.
this throat.
Yeah,
Because at that point, there's just so many Inquisitors coming down that someone's gonna make contact and they're just gonna hurt whatever they look at.
yeah. And the Inquisitors also have
Um,
the potential to be fast enough to swing around.
yeah, they have good potential, especially in like fifth turn five, to actually start making plays on the opposite side of the board.
Yeah,
So, which is nice.
yeah. So that's our Scholae lists. Let
Not the
us
greatest.
know. Well, Scholae is weird. Scholae is
Scholae
definitely
is
weird.
weird. Scholae is weird right now. I think if we got our subfaction rules, which I don't see us getting for a while,
Probably not.
it could benefit them a lot.
I think we'd have to see
Um,
more subfaction first.
yeah, at least one more regiment in Scholae.
Yeah,
At least. I'd honestly venture to say two. I still think the Flog should be under the Mechanist, though.
that'd be interesting. Yeah,
Just the Flog, not the Skorpio.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, that could
but
be
yeah,
interesting.
let us know what you think of our list. What if you
Yeah,
would do something different, a different build? Um, Let us know what archetype you'd want to see next. We're probably looking at chariotless specific builds. We had that request.
Chariot list.
Chariotless.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna play your list and then.
What list? um, but yeah, it's an interesting take because a lot of people don't like, the aesthetic of the chariot. A lot of people don't like the cost of the chariot and how many the army wants you to kind of take. So it's an interesting take to feel out here. So that's probably what we're looking at next for tactics, unless we get some comments or something different.
That'd be interesting.
Let us know. Hope you enjoyed this. Catch you next time.
Have a good one.